No, we will bring belts. Yeah, good idea.
All right. Yeah.
Did you know that there's a huge grid difference from European to American belts? From VSM to 3M? There is. The VSM 24 belts are more or less same as the 40 grid 3M belts. So
But how? How can this be?
They have like VSM is working on DIN norm, German or European norm, and 3M is working on like a US norm. So the grid is different. If you use like
You measure it differently.
36 and 36 from VSM and 3M, the 3M will be much sharper or much rougher than the VSM belts.
Okay, I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, that's why I switched to the VSM 24 belt instead of the 36.
Because they're like
the 24 is pretty much like the 36 from 3M.
But that's good to know if you want to compare like how long you can use a belt.
Exactly.
Right? Because if you have to compare the same grids then. Yeah?
Exactly. It's also on the higher grids, like at 120, 3M belt is like 150 VSM. Or the other way. Getting confused.
But how did you find out?
I talked to the VSM guy, to the VSM belt developer dude, and he told me.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody needs to make like a whole belt guide thing with between what's the other one instead of it being corn. It's like a something belt or something like that.
Yeah, that's trisect.
The trisect. Yeah.
All that crap. It's confusing as hell.
Super confusing. Yeah.
We should get Baltic Blades to develop an app.
Belt conversion app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever tried the Bora belts? This Polish guy, the
purple ones, right?
Pavel, yeah, the purple ones.
Yeah. No, I've only ever seen him in the pictures from his machines when he's selling them.
Yeah, they are pretty good too. Didn't check for prices like on bigger amounts, but I've got the feeling they work longer than the VSM belts.
I mean, there's different kinds of VSM belts, right? So there's like the one for high pressure, the one for low pressure. Sure. There's different.
Yeah, not sure.
But it's a good point. I mean, Keith has a good point there. Someone should write a belt guide.
Yeah. Go for it, Keith.
Yeah. Maybe. That's a lot of work. Well, you got to buy a lot of belts too and try them out, or get them to send you free ones.
Yeah.
I would say most knife makers, at least in Austria, that I know and talked about, I think probably 90% of them are using VSMs.
VSM,
I think for the prices,
the leader.
Yeah.
I mean, and for a reason, right? They make very, very good belts.
Yeah. Of course.
At a decent price. Yeah.
At a decent price, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, especially if you buy them like in bulk orders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or pallets.
Or pallets.
Yeah. Albert buys so many, they make whatever size, whatever grit he wants. They'll make a whole batch for him.
Yeah, but they do that for all their customers, I think. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Cologne gets some crazy dimensions.
Yeah, they produce them like in, what was it, like 2 meters wide? And then they just cut them down to the length you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Hey, speaking of belts and grinders and shit, did you guys see the new belt grinder that Tobin sent over to America?
Yeah.
Tobin machines.
I didn't see it yet, but Chris from Forgeworks told me today that I have to check out Tobin's new grinder. Kind of like, he said it's like the wet dream of all knife makers.
Yeah, he made it. Well, I went to visit him last Friday. I picked up a bunch of Apex Ultra Steel, and he asked me if I wanted to see the grinder, and I hadn't heard about it yet. We went over into Tobin's side of the shop, and the machine was all broken down to be put on a pallet, so I just got to see. I didn't see what it looked like all put together, but it's kind of like a version of Camone's grinder, but in Tobin's style. So there's a huge trough on the bottom to catch all the water, so you can do like a waterfall grinding system, like similar to Camone's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a 75 millimeter band. I think it's the wide band.
think it's even wider, isn't it?
It's
wider. Yeah, it's a 4 inches, so it's like 10 centimeters.
100.
Okay,
Yeah.
same like Camone.
Yeah, it's inspired by Camone's grinder, I think. And Anchorage Forge bought it, right? So that was Anchorage Forge's grinder.
Yeah.
You saw there.
Yeah.
I wonder how much he paid for it. We were talking about this today, but I mean, what would you expect, or do you know, Keith, how much?
No,
it was?
I don't know, but I'm guessing like 7.
Okay,
like that.
7.
We thought like 10 grand.
Yeah,
Could be.
yeah.
I mean, with shipping
I
and
mean,
all the
with
import
10.
fees and everything.
We would have said 10 grand. So it's a 4 inches by 79 inches fully enclosed wet grinder. I mean, being the wet dream of all knife makers is like pun intended, right?
And the cool thing is, like, most of his attachments fit on there. Like the rotary platen, I think, is in one of the pictures already mounted.
Yep.
Where did you find it? I don't find it on the Tobin Instagram.
Anchorage Forge.
On Anchorage Forge.
Anchorage
Right,
Forge. Yeah, Anchorage Forge.
Did you see the 2 new beers that he put out too?
Oh yeah, Finkel Ferguson got one. So
yeah, it
awesome.
looks awesome.
Awesome.
And Huber's with the giant hammer.
Yeah.
But the one from Finkel looks awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
I don't know about the beer though. It sounds, I mean, something to do with cheese and the beer and all kinds of stuff like that. I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like regular beer.
Thing looks sick. Nice. I mean, Oliver Tobin also built the wet grinder for what's his name again? The other guy from Apex Ultra, the Swiss guy from Zurich.
Is it Guldiman?
Guldiman.
Marcus Guldiman, yeah.
Yeah.
Or Marco.
And he's also running this full enclosed waterfall grinding systems, which Oliver built, I guess.
Have you ever used a wet grinding system before? Or the misting? You have the misting system, I think, Albert, right, on some of your grinders?
Yeah, always using the misting system. And I upgraded, so I'm using like 2 misters from both sides. And right now I'm trying to build like a cooling system for the platter.
Yeah.
Because it always gets pretty damn hot.
I made one. I have like a radius contact wheel, not a wheel, platen, a radius platen on mine.
Yeah.
And I made it water cooled with a pump and stuff.
Okay.
It does help, but I think on its own it's not enough. I mean, the radius platen is a huge curved surface. That thing is really dragging the belt across there. It builds up heat.
Yeah, but that's the same on my Tobin or on both my grinders, because I'm using a much bigger blade than the default. It's like 270 by 75 millimeters. So there's a lot of friction and a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And I'm just designing in CAD this aluminum platen stuff, and then put a tungsten carbide in front. And I was thinking about using one of this industrial, what are these things called? These things you use for lasers. This cooling stuff you use for lasers and for induction forges and all this stuff.
Just like the cooling, it has a cooler that cools off a tank.
Yeah.
And you pump the coolant through it. Yeah, I mean, you definitely need a certain amount of water that you can keep. If you just keep circulating it through, the water's going to end up heating up. So you need a bunch of it. Either a huge tank that you recirculate or something that you cool off, like you said.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're going to design a 2-piece of aluminum and then mill out like a track in the aluminum and then put them back together again.
I've got this small magnetic cooling system from RD Knives.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a small magnetic cooler which I can put on my Pavel grinder. And it works pretty good so far, but I guess for the Tobin, it's just not enough. Not enough power.
So is this an air cooled
No, it's also water cooled.
thing?